meal kitty you share with him. Tear him up a little piece.
Alright, last but not least, Uttera. Blood Boon. I find this is arguably the best of the boons, just because you can drop a new creature that you can reliably be able to buff with it without it dying first, and you can do that post-combat without worry. It's not a great combat trick, but giving something Lycian Shard style buffs is quite good. So let's say you have a Necro Slime. Post-combat, you drop this on the Necro Slime, and voila, you have an unkillable giant creature. Yeah, this 6/6 at rank 1 is just absurd. And it scales very well to an 8/8 and 14/14. I could very easily see this going Seal of the Deepwood route as being overpowered. Dartford Shambler. Very low health, so it's a cleanup creature.
Daddy too.
Gives a creature plus health for the
You give that to Daddy, okay?
amount of Dark Forges you have. This guy will obviously show up in
You
a
give this to Kitty. You give this to
Uttera
Neil.
Dark Forge deck.
I think he likes it. What do you think, Talitha?
From playing around with it draft, it gets pretty big pretty quickly. Particularly with Splicer, which we haven't talked about yet. I keep promising,
You give that
but
to Kitty, or you want
we'll
to
get there. I like that common. I think it's the second best of the commons, with Aloyan being the best. Grapple Vine, Mobility Hate, meh. Decent in draft. It's got a high enough health stat that it'll be useful. Too low attack to justify inclusion in Constructed, unless mobility just becomes ridiculous. Maybe against AT, but its stats are too low to really justify that. Verdant Sphere, you gain life and give a creature health. Wagyu. Past that, I don't see a need for this card. Bad draft spell, and outside of the Wagyu deck, it's unplayable when constructed. Duskhammer. This guy is decent, not great. His health is too low to do what he really wants to do in draft, which is sit out there for a turn or two and grow to absurdities. Unless, of course, you have Splicer. Again, I'm referring to a card that will be one of the last cards I go over, but it's by far the best of the heroics.
Mama doesn't want to go anywhere.
He's worth taking in draft, and will get taken quite a bit. It's like that.
More cheese.
But I don't see him getting any play outside of a Dark Forge constructed deck. He will be in the Dark Forge constructed deck between AU or UT, just because he is a Dark Forge.
Can you rescue Jinx, please?
Yeah. And you need more Dark Forge for the deck to work. So he'll show up there, but more as a, I don't have another option to include than a great impressive thing. Mastodon. All other dinos get
You
health.
turn the lights off. Now it's dark.
This guy with Dino Knight is kind
Can you
of
turn the
absurd.
lights back on so it will be light?
All my dinosaurs get
Daddy
bigger.
can see.
They all heal. Yeah. He instantly slots into any dino deck and really makes me want to go back and play UT Dino.
You
And I will be
turn the
building UT
Alright.
Dino at some point in the not too distant future. Or rebuilding, because that was what I originally played in Constructed Q when Braun came out. He's a very nice card. Vigor Wisp, not so nice. The rank 1 looks like a lazy Echo Wisp, which is the opposite of what Vigor means. Its ability is kind of meh. Its stats are kind of meh. It's a all-around meh kind of card. It works well with the Dark Forge that gives health and draft, but not well enough to be a high pick. It's a mediocre pick at best for drafting. You'll see no constructive play. Dragonslayer, because dragon hate is something we needed.
Your daughter is now rearranging the furniture.
Yep, she does that. This guy, 8, 12, 20 attack, makes him a very solid underdrop pick in draft. He's not a great pick in draft because dragons are, every one of them is legendary except the Fey Dragon.
Might want to take the other one first.
I'm scooting up, Slicer. Can you move it now? I don't like that he's hard level gated, but if you're playing against a dragon deck, and you'll know if you're playing against a dragon deck, or at least you should, leveling him up seems prudent. And Talitha, stop screaming or you're going back for a nap. Then stop screaming. Thank you. Good girl.
I'm gonna rescue her hat.
Got it. Oh, that's backwards. But yeah, if dragons dominate constructed, he'll show up. If they don't, you probably won't see him. Unless it's maybe a one of as an underdrop. Just in case of dragon. Kind of a, in case of dragon, break class scenario. Do like the art on quite a few of these cards.
Is he crunchy and does he taste good with ketchup? Dragons want to know.
Okay, that's a fair point. I have not actually dined on a Dragonslayer, so I do not know if he is crunchy and tastes good with ketchup. For the dragons. No nap!
No nap, huh? You're going to block it so you can't get out of the room.
The Splicer, this is, in terms of what the Dark Forges are trying to do, just ridiculous. Because his Mimic is also a Dark Forged. So you drop him, and when he comes into play, he spawns a Mimic. So he's always on par-ish with either hounds. He gets better than, starts off worse than. But you get to spawn more of him by playing other Dark Forges, which then in turn trigger the other Dark Forge abilities. And because he is a random ability, he will occur before any targeted ability when you play a targeted ability. So if you play the Dark Forge plant that gives plus health, he will automatically spawn a new one before the plus health triggers to give you an additional +2 or whatever. I think Pac-Man was the one that said that this is the glue that binds the Dark Forge deck together, and he's absolutely correct. This guy is basically a requirement for the Dark Forge deck to run the way it wants to, with plenty of Dark Forged. Yeah, his stats are lackluster, but he gives you a ridiculous amount of spam, and with enough Dark Forge support, you get lots of extra value out of the other Dark Forge abilities. Tremor Sword. This guy's interesting. He's obviously reminiscent of Thunder Sword. He does not have Breakthrough. I don't think he ends up sliding into my Thunder Sword or into my Dino deck. He can be very useful, particularly in draft, where you can just let somebody hit you a couple times and then suddenly it's a 2016 at rank 2 or whatever. And if you have the health to play with, that works great. But it really does increase the value of your health pool as a resource. And it's kind of hard to work with in Constructed, I think. Because if you're relying on this guy, he doesn't have the breakthrough like Thundersword does to push through the victory. So I don't think he'll show up in Constructed much. Dream Tree. This guy is something else. This guy is actually both Uttera cards here are doing nothing to offset Uttera's dominance in Constructed. It's going to take some build around, but there is definitely a UT deck to be made with this guy and Static Shock, etc., that is just terrifying. The amount of free plays you can get out of it. With one Static Shock, you are at that point playing 4 cards in your hand, assuming you have a second spell. Because you play a Static Shock, your second spell, and 2 creatures.
Big bird, yeah. Elmo.
And it's got Defender, so it's not going to die. It's just a bit ridiculous. And it's hard to answer. It is a plant, so it hits all the plant synergies. This guy will definitely see constructive play. It's going to be a new deck. It's going to be a UT deck that we haven't really seen before. We've seen it kind of with Dozer and Thundersword, but it will take it to the next level. Yeah, it's not going to slot into every Behemoth is or Malice Hermit was. But it will definitely see constructive play with, I would predict, Dozer and Thundersword and Brimstone Tyrant and Firestorm. All of those cards work all very well together, and Malice Hermit, for that matter. I realize a lot of those are legendaries, but that's what the deck kind of builds on, and it can get kind of scary pretty quickly. We'll have to wait and see, but I think that will be a dominant deck in the new meta. Uttera, Apex Predator. Amazing level 1, amazing level 3. Yeah, we won't talk about level 2. Phoenix ability at rank 1 and 2. Defender, so there's not a lot to say here. It's another bomb creature that you have to answer like Phoenix. That's true, Pac-Man. You could use the new Defender. This guy will see some constructive play, but it's not going to be a dominant card, I don't think. It's too hard to protect the 0-12. And with 10 health, there are several things. Anyways, that concludes my review. I'm now going to drop off for a bit and tend to my wife and daughter, who are looking at me longingly like they've lost track of me and I've disappeared on them. Thank you all for watching my reviews. I don't know when I'll get on again. I'd like to get on again later, but that will depend upon how things go this afternoon.
If somebody will take a nap, you can.
Yeah, if somebody will take a nap. Will you take a nap? Yeah, a nap.
Naps are good.
But in any event, thank you all for watching. I will be chopping these things up and posting them to YouTube later. To my YouTubers, I'm sorry that I have a screaming child for some of this. She's generally well behaved, but there was some screaming involved. Yeah, I have to go to work, so I do disappear on them a lot, Pac-Man. But in any event, have a good day, everyone. And I will talk to you all later.